there is like a culture shift going on in this country right now. There's no doubt about it. You know, football yesterday, and I'm actually in the last week or two. Have you noticed that the Trump dance is like the most famous dance for like celebrating a touchdown?
Mm-hmm.
You notice that? And sacks, I guess, too. It's a culture shift. It's huge. It's like cool to be on Team Trump right now. Welcome back to Truth Hurts, where we expose corrupt politicians, lying corporate media. I'm Jake Duesenberg, your host. Join me, MAGA Jesse. What are we talking about today?
Yeah, we got a lot of good stuff to be getting into. We'll be talking about missing ballots in Scott County. There are 21 missing ballots in Scott County, and that wouldn't necessarily matter very much unless we're talking about a state house district decided by 14 votes. So 21 votes makes a very big difference when we're talking about a 14-vote difference. We'll be talking about the Democrats cheating in Pennsylvania. They tried to do all kinds of different things to get Dave McCormick out of that win. We'll also be talking about the Trump Dream Team assembling. You just saw a little bit of it right there at the UFC. And Ken Martin, Minnesota's own, is going to run for DNC chair. I've got an article on that. We'll be discussing all of the details that you will want to know.
Join us on Rumble, YouTube, and Facebook. We'll be monitoring all the comments on Rumble in particular. If you want to interrupt at the same time, hit that Rumble rant. Helps us out tremendously on the show. And as a thank you to all the people helping us on the show, we're giving away Jordan Peterson tickets. Front row seats to Jordan Peterson in St. Paul, Minnesota. He's actually coming to Duluth the day before. This is on the 27th of January. We're going to do a drawing the first show of January 2025. I can't believe we're already saying that. January 2025. It's almost time. It's almost here. Put that up on the screen there, Dawson. We got Jordan Peterson. You can go to truthhurtsnews.com/JBP, as in Jordan B. Peterson. truthhurtsnews.com/JBP. I also put it in the live comment section. Click on it. I definitely want our fans to win these seats. We're going to be giving away to anyone that watches the show, wants to be a part of the show. Just click on it. They're excellent seats, two in the front row. They're the last two that you could buy in the front row. Bought them a couple weeks ago. Running the dials as always, Mr. Deep State himself, Dawson. How you doing, Dawson?
I was doing okay, but that little video clip got us taken off of YouTube and Facebook at the same time. So
The
Are you
UFC
serious?
one?
yeah,
You
I
think
don't-
because of music or what?
that's what it's saying. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure Kid Rock would love for us to do that.
Yeah,
I'm just telling you what the
Oh, yeah.
notifications.
that's
say.
crazy.
You just hate that kind of stuff. Well, I guess to our fans on YouTube or on Rumble, there you go. You can
Right.
still watch
You
the
know,
show.
That's the thing. The news, anybody on TV can play it, no problem. But the internet, they got all kinds of rules, and yeah, that's crazy for YouTube to care. First of all, because that video is everywhere, but it is what it is. That's why we're on Rumble. And I'm seeing we got some comments just real quickly. Tucker91, Bad Hat Harry, Mary Kay, and Scoo McSalty already in the chat, so we appreciate all you guys tuning in.
YouTube.
And
YouTube looks like it's temporary, like it could fix itself, but the Facebook one just says nobody else can see this. So
Yeah, I see that on Facebook. My God. Boy, that just sucks. I mean, this one's probably not political. They're just really weird on...
the you said it was Kid Rock music.
Yeah, it's Kid Rock.
That's probably why I don't.
I mean, Kid Rock is going to be fine with us showing that clip. He's in the clip. He loves it. Oh, God. All right. Well, anyhow, thank you to our great sponsors today. Warren Wessel of Keller Williams Realty. If you're looking to buy a home or sell a home, give Warren a call at 612-419-7453. The guy you can trust in the business of finding and buying a home. Also, if you're going to buy a home, go to the good guys at John Galt Mortgage Company. Give them a chance at financing your home. You can go to johngaltmortgage.com. The Chermak brothers, they are overdue for coming back on the show. I definitely want to talk to Tim a little bit more about what needs to happen with U.S. Treasury with Trump. I haven't heard any news about Trump's Treasury appointments. That's a huge one. But there's a lot of good ones in the foreign policy arena or intelligence arena, the health arena. I'm loving what I'm seeing. I can almost skip over Rubio for the time being, and even though I hate that appointment. So go to johngaltmortgage.com, also brought to you by Alpine Cabin Tree in St. Cloud, Minnesota. Let's start with this story here out of Scott County, Minnesota. Scott County is just southwest of the Twin Cities area, so basically touches that lower loop, 694, 169 kind of goes right through it. Shakopee being, I guess Shakopee would be the biggest city in Scott County. I'm pretty certain it's the seat of the government. the county government. It's what we know of it. In
Right, that's
particular,
where the Scott County Center, government center is, so I'd figure it has to be Shakopee.
then it's Shakopee. 54A is a House district. It's currently occupied by far radical leftist Brad Tabke, who was losing to Aaron Paul, the Republican, on election night until they just flipped the switch. And all of a sudden he has a 14-vote lead. And there's somehow 21 ballots unaccounted for in Scott County in just 2 precincts. MAGA Jesse's got the story. Let's hear about it.
Yeah, Dawson, let's go ahead and pull up that article because election fraud is top of mind for many voters. If you can't trust that your vote is counted, then we the people no longer have control over our government. We see issues mounting in House District 54A, which is currently represented by Brad Tabke. This critical race could flip the state house into GOP control because the current margins are 67 to 67. This would make it 68-66. Current results state that Tabke is up by 14 votes against GOP opponent Aaron Paul. He was up 13 votes after the election night, as they, after they flipped the numbers and whatnot. They did a recount with the tabulators that brought up Tabke's numbers by 1, so he was up by 14 instead of 13 votes. Following that, they're going to be doing a hand recount. I'll talk about that in a second. But a massive issue is now putting the entire election into question in House District 54A because 21 ballots have apparently gone missing. Due to the 14-vote lead the Tabke has on Paul, 21 missing ballots is a massive issue. The fact is that 2 precincts have missing absentee ballots in District 54A, Shakopee Precinct 10 and Precinct 12A. So go ahead and scroll down, show them the disaffected areas. Shakopee 10A had 20 missing ballots, and Shakopee P12A had 1 missing ballot. So it was 20 from P10 and 1 from P12A. According to the Secretary of State's election reporting data, Tabke leads Paul in both disaffected precincts right now. Scott County says that the rescan of ballots that they conducted on November 8th did not uncover these 21 missing ballots, and they are working with the city of Shakopee to discover the issue. The explanation that Scott County Elections Administrator Julie Hansen told Alpha News was that the county, quote, had not determined if the ballots cannot be located or if the record was added and the person did not vote, end quote. She then suggested that a voter might have changed their mind or left without voting. She also told Fox 9 that Precinct 10 had 329 people check in to vote absentee, but they only got 309 ballots. So aside from outright fraud, there's a couple of other possibilities that this could be. For example, maybe they left the 54A race blank, or they did not turn in their ballot altogether. However, it's odd that this misreporting and missing ballots would all occur mostly within one single precinct. And because Scott County is floating the possibility of multiple ballots being missing, we, of course, have to take that into consideration, too, because if Scott County election officials are not ruling that out, that means that we cannot rule that out either. And if they had the ability to immediately rule it out based on technical or reporting information that was incorrect, that's absolutely what Scott County would do. But the fact that they're not able to do that shows that there is a massive issue. If there are 21 ballots that they have accounted for, but they cannot find them, this is a major, major issue. But the good news is it's not too late. There's going to be a public hand recount that's taking place this Thursday, November 21st at 8:30 a.m. at the Scott County Government Center. More information can be found in the article on that. They're also doing a public recount of 4 randomly selected precincts today. That took place at 9 a.m. And let's see here.
Can I ask you why that's great news? Because from what I understand, it's just going to be the ballots that they see in front. I don't think it's going to solve this issue at all.
No, I don't know if it will solve the issue either, but it's good that citizens have the ability to raise the concern. And this also gives the ability for House Republicans to play hardball from the jump, because we, as citizens, we can't necessarily be sure that Brad Tabke legitimately won this election. So I would wonder if Lisa Damuth and Harry Niska would want to take this battle on. It would give them the majority. They could, fight to impeach Brad Tabke, because if we cannot legitimately be sure that he was elected to the House, he should not be representative of those people. I think the district residents of 54A would be best served if they were to hold a special election so that they could make sure that all the votes were counted. It doesn't sound like this problem was happening all around the state. It sounds like this was a unique issue to 54A, and since it was the closest House district in the entire state, the people need to make sure that their voices are properly heard. That's going to be on the leadership, and especially the newly elected leadership of Vice Chair Harry Niska, on whether they want to take this battle on, because when we have all this skepticism about elections, it doesn't do any benefit to just shove the results through and certify it, even though we have all these unanswered questions. When you have unanswered questions, they have to answer them, or there's going to be even more distrust in our electoral process.
Before I comment on this, Dawson, did you get my email? Yeah, so there you go. According to Facebook, UFC blocked your video because it may contain content they own, which is just ridiculous.
That makes a little more sense to me than it being Kid Rock, though. Because, like, UFC, I know that they're super stringent about streaming fights,
Right.
obviously, is the big thing. So.
But they're going to want that out there.
Well, and I'm sure it's just automated. There's no human that's
I just
behind it.
at some point we've got to allow information to spread, I get it. I'm not showing John Jones's ridiculously good rib kick against Stipe. Did you see that?
I didn't actually watch the fight.
Oh,
I just
my
I just saw
God.
the celebration.
By the way, I didn't pay for the fight. I was deer hunting, so I was
after
camping.
I saw the Jake Paul, Mike Tyson disaster,
I was
done.
busy sleeping through that fight.
Yeah, that was ridiculous.
All right, let's talk about that in the post show, by
Right.
the way, because I got some comments about it. I am not as much a
It was
hater.
fake.
I'm not as much of a hater as most people,
Oh, it was
honest to God.
fake.
What's fake?
The whole fight was fake.
What was fake about it?
It was predetermined. It was.
You think so? Why do you think it's predetermined?
Because Mike Tyson wanted that cash and Jake Paul wanted that win.
Yeah.
They came to an agreement, and that's what happened.
You think so?
Of
without
course.
a doubt, yeah.
I
Mike
don't
Tyson
know.
took a dive.
He took so you think Mike Tyson could beat a 27-year-old fighder?
No, I just don't think he gave it his all.
He could
I don't
beat
know
Jake
what. I don't know what.
I think
what
you
really
watched
happened.
literally in front of your eyes, and I have a little bit more experience
I
at
saw
this than you. Aren't you?
WWE.
You're 27, right?
26. Yeah.
I shouldn't tell you this. I mean, even at 42, you're going to wear the shit out of me, man. But a 58-year-old, they stand no chance against you because they'll.
The average 58-year-old, yeah. And
Mike Tyson, did you watch his legs? The guy is like sore. I mean, my God, look, I'm 42 years old. I can't tell you how much more pain I have on my body at 42. And it's not like the difference between. What's that?
I'm just saying he didn't give his all, and that it was a predetermined fight. They knew how it was going to go. And I feel bad for anybody that wasted the money paying for it. I illegally streamed it.
Let's definitely talk about it in the post show because there's a lot to talk about, and it looks like chat likes it too.
All right.
Yeah.
We gotta keep a little bit of.
Well, good for you because I got some comments on that one, man.
Good.
All right, so here's the deal. This one's so puzzling to me. Okay, I want to go and figure out what's the way that someone's trying to steal the election here. Okay, and I can't figure that out. And I'd love to hear you guys in the comment section if you got a theory. So, what happened is people go to vote early. That's called an absentee ballot. Okay, I know that sounds ridiculous, right? Absentee ballots usually meant something. It meant you had a ballot sent to you in the mail, probably because you're overseas, serving in the military, and then you send it back. But no, when you vote early, it's an absentee ballot. Got it? So somebody went to one of the places you could vote early in 54A or in Scott County just in general, and they requested an absentee ballot.
From Precinct 10 or Precinct 12A?
Well, in this case, actually, I think it was in Precinct 10, 329 people did this.
Mm-hmm.
But only 309 ballots went through the tabulator.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is the issue: is they received a ballot. Somewhere between receiving that ballot at a physical location, not in the mail, okay, they don't end up putting in the tabulator. Now, I did send out an email this morning to the person at Scott County on the press release because you've got that in your article. What's the name here? Is it
Julie Hansen.
Julie Hansen. Dawson, pull up A3 because I didn't hear back yet. I mean, it wasn't I should have sent this a day ago, but anyhow, if you scroll down to where it says where are the votes, I think we covered this. No, that's not. What did I say? Did I say A3? Yeah,
Yes.
scroll down. Yep, there you go. Scroll down. We'll see where it says, where are the votes? This is a quote from Julie Hansen. It says, quote, we had 329 people check into absentee vote, right? So it's not like they got an absentee ballot in the mail and just never sent it back, okay? Just want to make sure you understand that that's not what happened here, because that wouldn't seem crazy, okay?
Right. Wouldn't be newsworthy at all.
We received 309 ballots back. Now that's where it gets weird. What does that mean? 309 ballots back. You had 329 check in to absentee vote, but you received 309. It sounds like receive means getting in mail, but that's not the case here. I can't guarantee that a ballot was issued to those 20 voters. I can't speculate at this point. We have done a lot of auditing, a lot of digging, and investigation. They don't know. They just don't know. But I talked to somebody, a Scott County expert, Scott County voting expert, or sorry, elections expert, and that person told me that, and they actually voted early, to the point where they said that there was just one single line, and it was a long line, and I can't remember. It was like, I think it was a week or so in advance of the election, and it's a long line, and that line is to get your ballot. And then once you get the ballot, there's many different places to vote inside there, like whatever the dividers are. And then you put it into the tabulator. Mm-hmm. He's like, the idea that 20 ballots didn't go from here to the tabulator is just utterly ridiculous. Mm-hmm. So then that leads you to believe what happened is, well, it's a clerical issue, okay? So if it's a clerical issue, then you would think, okay, yeah, someone screwed up in that precinct. However, there's one in precinct 12, but none of the others. So then it's like, well, is it really a clerical issue? That seems weird. You know, if it's just one, I could understand it. It's just an anomaly. So then it's 20 in one district or precinct and then one in another precinct. So then my question, and this is the question I posed to Julie Hansen, is this happened at any other Scott County precincts, right? Not including 54A and other precincts and other House districts? Has this happened? Is this common? Because maybe the attention is just on this district because it happens to be separated by 14 votes. That's the tab key margin right now. And then the other question, and she probably just wouldn't know this, is has it happened around the state? That's the question I think that needs to be answered is, has this happened anywhere else? Because it seems really bizarre that you would have somebody get a ballot physically in person. So I think we can just exclude the mail-in ballots at this point. And somehow between getting that ballot and the area that you vote, it doesn't go in the tabulator.
Right. So
then it leads me here, Jesse, and I'm sorry I'm rambling here, but it's like, but what would be the, if it was like cheating, what would be the operation here? I don't understand what the operation would be. Why wouldn't they put the ballots in the tabulator? You know?
Yeah, I don't know. You know, the only other, if I'm trying to think of a good faith explanation for what they could say, they could maybe argue certain numbers of people will get their ballot and then they will check someone and then they say, oh, I would rather vote for this other person, give me a new ballot. But 20 people in one precinct, that doesn't make sense.
Right.
Especially if it's only applying in that precinct. There's nothing in precinct 10 that's different than what's on the ballot in precinct 12A. It's the same exact ballot. So it doesn't make any difference if it's all in 54A.
Imagine someone had explosive diarrhea and had to run out of the building or something like that. But not 20 people.
Right.
Unless they all came from like the same Taco Bell. I don't know. Mm-hmm. What? And then why would you have one in another district? To our knowledge, these questions haven't been answered at this point. Right?
Oh, yeah, definitely not. I mean, that's why the fact that Scott County isn't giving these answers means that we don't have the answers. If they can't piece together what's going on, they're going to have to figure out with these election judges what exactly went on. You know, I wonder, do they have the names of the 329 people that they say voted, and can all of those people affirm, you know, on what's it called, an affidavit of some kind, that they voted, and you know, even if they wanted to disclose how they voted, those affidavits would come in handy right now. So this is something that I don't know if we're going to get the answer to, which if we don't have the answer to it by the end of this and they certify the election in Scott County, I think that we're going to be in a position where the House GOP might need to question, is Brad Tabke a legitimate state representative?
So I had this election expert tell me that essentially what they have done is they have certified, or at least the county board has certified the election. That seems like a procedural thing in the sense that there is a recount, right? First of all, they do a automatic review. I don't know if you guys know this in Minnesota. They pick out random precincts. It's a pretty good thing to just test to make sure that the counting was accurate, right? And that's how you would do it. Instead of funding some big recount, you would just randomly test a couple of precincts, okay? So that's part of the normal process. Because this is within a half a point difference, it actually is a government-funded recount, right? 14 votes separates Brad Tapke from Aaron Paul. So they're going to do this recount. That recount is on Thursday. So the review is happening today. The recount starts the morning of Thursday. Mm-hmm. Now, I mean, here's the problem with the recounts. First of all, has a Republican ever emerged victorious after a recount in Minnesota? I'm just trying to think, like, has it ever happened? No, I don't think it's ever happened. But also, we don't see a big movement.
They were down and then they...
I don't think I've ever seen it now that I can think about it.
Well, I mean, 3A, 3B in 2022, I'm sure both of those went to recounts and both of them had Republican winners at
No,
the
but
end,
I mean, like, it's switched,
down,
right? Because you got that Norm Coleman Al
win.
Franken thing, which was massive, right?
Right.
So, I mean, I can't even think too many other cases where a recount happened and a switch happened. I mean, why does this all matter? Because literally the Minnesota House is a 67-67 split. And it's 67-67 counting this one for Democrats. So if Aaron Paul wins, then obviously it's, Republican majority, which quite frankly, I don't know how important that is, to be honest with you, because like I kind of think it's funny that these guys are split. I like divided government unless you have strong-willed conservatives who are actually going to promote and do what they say they're going to do.
There was an agreement reached between Demuth and Melissa Hortman, so between the GOP and Democrat caucuses in the state house, and they are apparently going to share committee power. So that means that Republicans are going to control half the committees and Democrats are going to control the other half. That might be the best way of doing it. There's going to be a lot of different strategies and whatnot that they, I don't know if any kind of agreement has been reached for who is going to be the speaker, but that is going to be a battle in and of itself.
So I'm looking at the comments. Look under the filing cabinet. That's the other thing is like, what would these votes be? Like, if they're going to help Aaron Paul, like, I don't think anyone could have just taken them out of their hands. Like, I'm trying to even posit a theory, and I can't think of what the theory would be. It just seems to me that this would be something we'd want to get a grasp of. It's a pretty big anomaly. And not to mention, so we knew about the one case of fraud. This actually was a Trump supporter. It was a woman in, what was it? Was it Itasca County, right? Itasca County. She voted for her late mother, who would have wanted to vote for Trump, so she cast a ballot. She's going to be prosecuted on that one. Then we just learned about this one in Hubbard County. Is that right? Did I get that right? Hubbard County. There was a election judge who was allowing, I think, up to 11 people to vote who weren't even actually registered, didn't even register to vote that day. So it's utterly ridiculous. I have no idea that Hubbard County is a Republican district, so it kind of makes you wonder if it's the Republicans a Republican that was trying to cheat. Yeah. And by the way, Republicans have been caught in election fraud before.
And sometimes election fraud is one of those things where people are just being a little loose and they don't realize that, I'm breaking the law. I don't know. I'd have to look at the specifics of this case. But
well, then they can't be tried because Hillary Clinton didn't know she was breaking the law when she was giving away classified information. So, right, that's all that matters.
Right, it's if you know.
Yeah, except for, that federal statute.
Everyone else,
That federal statute literally says it doesn't matter if they knowingly committed the crime, by the way.
Yeah.
That was the biggest joke ever. It was like, I was looking at that statute that she was being prosecuted, or should have been prosecuted for, and it literally says in that statute, it says, even if they don't protect classified information without knowingly doing it.
Wow.
Because you technically are supposed to be an expert on it. That's why it's written that way.
Right. And they know not to give that out to anybody.
Right.
It's obviously well known.
And then the cover up too, right? That's the other thing that's just like, oh my God, she was covering up the information. Hillary Clinton. Oh, what a scumbag. But Trump didn't prosecute her, by the way. I love how the left is losing their shit. Like, he's going to come after everybody. It's crazy. He's coming at. I'm like, he should come after some people for sure. All the people that did lawfare against him, they should be prosecuted. No doubt about it. We can't let that sin go unpunished. Without a doubt, we can't let that happen. He's not coming after his political rivals. Don't go down that road. I mean, he's not going to do what Biden does. And if he does, I'll be the first to speak out against it. So Right T says ignorance of the law is no excuse. Well, speaking of which, let's go to this next story. Dems cheating in Pennsylvania. Because, McCormick and Bob Casey, the Democrat Bob Casey, are 17,000 votes away from each other. And McCormick pulled up the upset in Pennsylvania. Now, Trump won it by a much larger margin. This is 20 basis points, something like that? It's 0.2? Yeah, it's not much.
Yeah.
So right now, McCormick...
48.8 to 48.6.
Right, so that means McCormick is the 53rd vote for the Senate. I think I got that right.
Right,
53?
yeah, 53.
There you go. So you take that one away for him, and it's a pretty big difference, which also means that he is the junior senator and Fetterman is the senior senator in Pennsylvania. Oh, the wise John Fetterman. Boy, don't you love how for a while he was like the bro senator that everyone was like, this guy's cool as shit. Even people on the right, or kind of the right, acting like this guy good. And then he goes on Joe Rogan and he's like exposed for not being worth shit on politics.
Yeah.
He couldn't answer a damn question. All right, so anyhow, this is a story. Pull up the B1 here, Dawson. This is from Fox News. Pennsylvania Supreme Court upholds exclusion of certain mail-in ballots in victory for GOP. The Pennsylvania Supreme Court ruled Monday that mail-in ballots with incorrect or missing dates cannot be counted in the 2024 election, delivering a victory to Republican Party officials as they move to aggressively defend their narrow Senate victory amid a recount challenge in the Keystone State. In a 4-3 decision, the state Supreme Court reaffirmed its prior decision that counties in the state cannot count incorrectly dated or undated ballots, explicitly singling out boards of elections in Bucks County. By the way, Bucks County is going to be a Kamala County, right? They thought Trump was going to win, and I think that turned out to be not true. Montgomery County and Philadelphia County, whom they said, quote, shall comply with the prior rulings of this court in which we have clarified, end quote, for mail and absentee ballots in their November 1 ruling. The decision is a victory for Republican Party officials who had filed 12 different lawsuits in the state amid an aggressive Senate recount effort following the narrow victory of Republican candidate Dave McCormick over three-term Democrat Senator Bob Casey. It goes on to talk about how Josh Shapiro, Democrat Pennsylvania Josh Shapiro, said in a Monday night statement that he expects all county election officials to, quote, adhere to this ruling and the applicable laws, end quote. Now, here's why he's saying that. Let's go to the B2, Dawson. This is a story of literally county officials not adhering to law, just openly saying they're going to defy the law. Boy, you got to love their adherence to democracy. Go ahead and click on this.
Nearly 2 weeks after Election Day and the Pennsylvania Senate race is still not settled. GOP challenger Dave McCormick ahead of incumbent Democrat Bob Casey by less than 0.5%, triggering an automatic recount under state law. A court battle erupting over mail-in ballots. Weeks before the election, the state Supreme Court ruled mail-in ballots with a missing or incorrect date could not be counted. Election officials in at least 4 counties, Bucks, Philadelphia Center, and Montgomery, openly defying that ruling. In Bucks County, the Democrat-led Election Commission Board voted to count 405 ballots with date errors.
This is
Precedent
priceless.
by a court doesn't matter anymore in this country, and people violate laws anytime they want. So for me, if I violate this law, it's because I want a court to pay attention to it. And there is nothing more important than counting votes.
The blatant flouting of the law sparking outrage. The liberal Washington Post editorial board saying Democrats are thumbing their nose at the rule of law, calling it, quote, corrosive to democracy. Conservative commentator Jonathan
Okay, that's good. So it's first of all, we have to save democracy by not having a primary. Then we got to save democracy by silencing speech. And in this case, we have to save democracy by not following the law. That's your modern Democrat Party there. That's what they think. Anyhow, I don't know if this even mattered. I mean, how many people had the wrong dates? It can't be in the margins of 17,000. Right? You're not going to overturn the election at this point. I mean, Trump's it's really the McCormick election. It's not going to be Trump. I mean, he won by 2-0. That I literally am starting to believe, and this is what a lot of people have been saying, he has to win by a margin that's too big to cheat, right? Or too big to rig is the saying. And I'm beginning to think, yeah, he did. They've just, and he won the popular vote, to boot. So, they can't do anything about it. He is going to be the president of the United States unless they shoot him.
Yeah. There's always that. There's always that.
But you see how he's loved by the people at the UFC. Excuse me.
Well, no, I think that's so emblematic of what's going on because people want a fighter. People are sick of having these weak-kneed politicians who go in there and they don't do anything for them. We're sick of seeing these corrupt politicians who are, just there for the lobbyists and special interests in their own personal power. Trump is really the only one that has gone into the system at the highest level and challenged the status quo in the establishment. So the fact that, he gets that reaction at the UFC and he's supported by the culture of what's going on, even musicians and whatnot. I saw Jelly Roll in that video and all these others that are, non-political people. Everybody is coming to Trump because, like you said, there is a cultural seismic shift. It's now cool to be MAGA. And, I saw Tucker in the beginning. He said, it's always been cool to support Trump. They're all just late to the party. And, it takes some warming up maybe to get to that point. Not everybody's going to be MAGA right off the jump. But, after seeing, I think that this 4-year time period for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris to destroy the country actually helped Trump a whole lot because there's a lot of people who missed him. He gained a lot of positivity in that time. There were a lot of people who would have never voted for him that were supporters of him this time. Actually, I was watching a video. There's all kinds of people that voted for AOC and Trump in New York. So he appealed to all kinds of voters that would have never voted for him just a few years back. So, and it's because he is appealing to Democrats. He's bringing people like Tulsi Gabbard and RFK Jr., all the people that were Democrats that no longer have a home. They have a home in MAGA.
All right, I do want to talk about this. I mean, as we talk about the Trump Dream Team, I think what you're seeing here, well, okay. Boy, how do I want to get this thing started? This has been on my heart and mind for a good period of time. And I was never like the biggest Trump fan, as I've said many times on the show. That's why I have you on the show, Jesse, because you scratch that itch for us all, okay? You've been a solid Trump guy, for the last 4 years since I've known you. Mm-hmm. It's been great. You've been very consistent on it. We've gone back and forth on some stuff. I'm part of that like libertarian crew that's like, there's some good things about Trump, but we got to go through his record. And that's what always scares me is his past record, the things that he failed to do. And now I look at this stuff and I go, oh my God, is he really going to do this stuff? And I'm starting to think he's embracing liberty movement.
Right.
Okay.
He's come our way more than people have gone his way. He is siding with the grassroots. I mean, look at COVID. COVID is a perfect example of that. He never got too much into the weeds of it even during the campaign. But, look at the people who he's selecting, RFK Jr. and other people who are, top opposition thinkers in COVID that were going against the mainstream narrative. Trump isn't willing to just go along with this because he was calling it out as China from the beginning, even when they were saying, it's racist to call it the China virus. You can't say it came from China. It's racist to shut down travel between us and China, even though that was what prevented a major spread of COVID. So with all that, yeah, I mean, I think Trump has come our way on a ton of issues, COVID being a very important one, but on the issues of liberty, Trump has moved to a smaller government, actually drained the swamp type mentality. And if he actually finishes the job in these 4 years, then, it's what people always wanted to see MAGA be. So he's finally putting the team together to make that happen.
Well, and that's the thing is RFK Jr. might be the most interesting of all the different appointments. Did RFK get announced before a Thursday show? I can't remember if we talked about it.
I can't remember when
I don't think announced. It was. I think it was after. I want to say it was after. So you guys even haven't heard our comment, but it's like that's the biggest middle finger to all the people that screwed us during COVID. Was appointing RFK, right? A guy that wrote a book on Anthony Fauci. I mean, now Fauci should be in prison, to be honest with you. Mm-hmm. And is again, they say he's anti-vaccine. He's certainly against the COVID vaccine. He's against a lot of other vaccines as well. I don't know if I'm sure he thinks some vaccines are good, but I don't know. I don't know well enough on that one. But for sure, he's against that COVID jab. Well, it shouldn't be called the vaccine.
Whatever the vaccine schedule was when he was born, he took. So whatever that was, 3 or 4 vaccines maybe at the time. But Yeah, and I'm not sure exactly his position on every single one of them. He says that he's not going to take them away, that he just wants things to go through rigorous public testing that isn't completely funded by the pharmaceutical industry and isn't funded by the people who are producing these vaccines and medications and whatnots, which that's how proper science would go anyway. You would have independent people who don't have a monetary stake involved in the medicine who are going to actually test it out. So hopefully he's going to actually be a true and fair, neutral referee in these in medicine here. He'd be a great choice.
Okay, so the left's kind of melting down right now, Jesse, and they're acting like, well, there's not a mandate, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's, a mandate's always subjective, okay? And then why did people vote for Trump? The left's also trying to belittle why they voted for Trump. Oh, how do you feel about those cheap eggs now? That's like the way to minimize it. Oh, people only voted for Trump for cheap eggs. Mm-hmm. I'm going to be honest with you. I think Trump, there's a lot of reasons why people did well or voted his direction, but it's really because the status quo has failed us so tremendously, okay? Because if you think about all the reasons not to vote for Trump, get past us, okay? Let's just think about the average voter here. The average voter has a ton of off-ramps to voting for Donald Trump, right? I mean, I know you hate it, but the fact that he's got mean tweets, that there's an off-ramp there. People don't like... They get this picture who Donald Trump is from the media, like it or not, that's just the picture they get. There's a lot of off-ramps to supporting Trump, and yet so many people still voted for him. And that's got to be the biggest middle finger to the status quo. They really feel like we are against screwed. You just look at what's the news today. The news today, this morning, as if Joe Biden's even coherent right now. He's in Brazil. He got lost in the jungle the other day.
I saw that video where he does a press conference thing, just wanders back into the jungle.
Yeah.
It's like, what is going on?
Did you see him with the G20 leaders? They take a picture without him. He's not on stage.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, they're like, oh, God, you haven't seen this yet?
No.
Pull up my Twitter. This is so interesting. Although I think Trudeau's with him as well at that point. But they're like literally got the media going, where's Biden? Where's Biden? And then they're just all like leaving like it doesn't matter.
Wow.
There you go. Scroll down. Keep going. There's Tim Walz. Keep going.
Yeah, I saw that picture all done.
All right, play that. Oh, wait. Hold on. Missing context. Biden and Trudeau arrived late for the photo following a bilateral meeting because of logistical issues. Italian Prime Minister also missed. Biden and Trudeau formed a separate... Yeah, but it doesn't ignore the fact that they just went ahead and took pictures without Biden.
They did a separate huddle.
Yeah.
that means nothing.
Yeah. I mean, literally, they took the photo without... And then you don't need to play it, but the media's like, oh, where's Biden? So it is a little weird because I saw him and Trudeau, and then they're trying to find him not to the left. But the fact that, usually America
they got the top dogs there. I mean, Xi Jinping, Mohammed bin Salman. They got what's the guy from India? But they got all kinds of top leaders there. It is, it shows that America's not respected, and not good.
So look. I mean, I don't think that context is much different. It's still the fact that there was a time that I remember where they're like, well, where's the United States president? Let's not take this thing without him. We're not leaders in the world with Joe Biden. Okay, but anyhow, the bigger story here is literally the Biden administration somehow approved long-range missiles for Ukraine to send into Russia. And according to the press this morning, they've already used these things. And Vladimir Putin is hinting towards the ability to use nuclear bombs.
Right. Yeah.
This is happening.
Yeah, I saw Putin got rid of one of his policies and treaties, which was for denuclearization and the not using nuclear weapons under any circumstances. But I'm hoping that it's all just optics and threats and whatnot, because Putin knows that the war is coming to an end. And there's going to be a negotiation. That's how all wars end. A negotiation among leaders acting like adults. So Trump is finally going to come into the room and make it happen. Because
I know, but Jesse, what about all the bloodshed and all the crap that's happening? And North Korea's got troops now. North Korea's helping out Russia. Did you know that?
It makes sense.
Yes, exactly. So literally, we're watching the start of World War III happening on the Ukrainian battlefield. And this is happening with a lame duck president who literally gets lost in the jungle. It doesn't show up to the photo. Like, is there anything else in his freaking schedule these days than the damn photo op? I mean, that's the only thing he could do well. By the way, great photo op with Donald Trump. Boy, the smile on his face makes you think he voted for Donald Trump.
Yep.
It's pretty interesting stuff. So to me, it's like, I think, mandate or not, the American people voted overwhelmingly for Donald Trump. With all those off ramps, they still voted for this guy. And the best way to categorize why they did it is because they believe the status quo is failing. And when you understand politics the way we do, it's failing to such a large level. I mean, it's not even failing; it's screwing us. It's like purposely screwing us. And so Donald Trump I think he is aware of this and personally frustrated what they did. And therefore, he is actually going to take action. So he's talking about things like ending the income tax. Now, I'm not going to put money on that, right? I'm not going to put money on it being possible to happen anytime soon. But the fact he's even talking that way is good.
But it's why he says the most beautiful word in the English language, tariffs. And that's how you do it. And, honestly, I do want China to pay. When they have slave labor and we can't compete with them as with our American labor standards, they have to pay a price, and especially when they want tariffs on all of our goods, but we can't tariff them back. Of course not. That's not acceptable. We need to be, if we are the top superpower in the world, which we are, that means we have the negotiating leverage, and only Trump was the one willing to use it. Obama got ran over, Biden got ran over, Bush got ran over, Clinton got ran over, and Kamala was going to get run over, and it was probably going to be the end of all of us at that point. But, with Trump getting back in there, it's he's going to be able to take on China, and that's the number one concern.
JL Jazz is back in. I haven't seen her on the show, live show lately. Hi, all. I heard of a meme with Biden walking in the jungle that said, "I love it when they release him back into the wild." That's pretty good. And K-Wall for life. To think the Democrats try to sell us a sympathetic, well-meaning elderly man with a poor memory through 2028. Amazing.
Yep. But it wasn't until that debate that it was in front of everybody's faces that, hey, he's got dementia. You can't put this guy up. And then even then, some of the Democrats didn't want to right away. And also, Scoob McSalty says they've been asking where Biden is for the last 4 years. So yeah, good point. I mean, is he really the president? It's hard to say. It's really Blinken and some of these other top people that are really running the show. It's not Joe Biden.
Did you see what Blinken said the other day? This is another tweet. Are you still in the same part of my Twitter feed there, Dawson? I'm starting to realize that my Twitter feed is easy show prep. Because I'm like quick to repost things because I'm like, oh, I know I could just find it later on Twitter. Oh, shoot. Well, scroll back down. This is an interesting thing. I think it's just a image. Maybe if you go to media, it'll show up quicker. So if you just click on my media, I think it took a screen capture. Yep, right there. See, you don't know what Blinken looks like.
Underneath
left.
the woman with the glasses.
Yep. There
That
you go.
one.
Click on that. This is Anthony Blinken saying, today we announced that the United States will support the city of Lima in building a new passenger train line that will expand access to reliable and affordable transportation for over 200,000 people every single day. Lima, Peru. I kind of think, Jesse, maybe, just maybe the election was about this. When we're getting screwed, and yes, eggs are going up in price and gas is going up in price, but it's much more than that. You allow illegals to come across the border and occupy and run multiple apartment complexes in Colorado.
And then fix the country that they're coming from.
Yes. And then you go and you prioritize fixing trains in Lima, Peru. Like maybe, just maybe, the American people aren't fine with that. And maybe, just maybe, when you're saying, and by the way, this is how it's announced. The Biden administration allows Ukraine to use U.S. missiles, long-range missiles, against Russia. Like, we allow it. Well, I'm glad that we allow it.
Right.
Vladimir Zelensky believes that we don't actually get to call the shots. It's like, that's cute. That's very cute, yeah. But Zelensky clearly is loving this thing. He's going to, and by the way, they are doing this, Jesse, because this allows Ukraine to turn the war and go the opposite, like allow them to possibly win this war that they can't win at all. They can't win this war.
Well, they want to continue it on so that Trump can't end it. And,
think about that. Think about that. That's crazy. Ukraine cannot. The only way Ukraine can win this war is committing NATO troops, and let's just be honest, committing American troops as part of that NATO mission. That's the only way they can win this thing. They can't beat Russia.
Right.
They can't, and especially with North Korea joining, they can't do that. This thing's got to end. This thing's so utterly ridiculous. Just maybe that's what this is about. And just maybe when Trump goes in to the UFC in Madison Square Garden, did you know that the Nazis held a rally in 1939 in Madison Square Garden?
I'm aware.
Ooh, the connotations there, Jesse. By the way, it's also interesting how many people are meeting with Hitler. You know, Joe Biden just met with literally Hitler. Morning Joe and Mika went and met with literally Hitler. It's so interesting. Also, I saw Rosie O'Donnell. I saw like some tweet with her in it. Have you seen her lately? Oh my God. She looks terrible. I mean, she always looked kind of bad, but she looks horrible. All right, sorry. I'm just going to rant on this thing. The other thing is, and we said this on the show on Thursday, Tulsi is a big middle finger to the establishment. I mean, Tulsi Gabbard, now they all think she's a Russian asset, which is the dumbest thing ever, and they have no proof on it. I guess what you're saying is literally what they're the talking points, and then the fact she met with Assad. I guess that's what makes her a Russian asset.
Yeah,
so utterly
actually,
ridiculous.
Bernie Sanders, there is a tweet from him in 2017 or something like that where he says it's ridiculous to call Tulsi Gabbard a Russian asset. Maybe it was 2019. You know, it was probably during the presidential campaign, but Bernie Sanders said that it was ridiculous to call Tulsi Gabbard a Russian asset, saying how, you know, she's a current member of the military. So we'll see if Bernie Sanders is going to be able to fight the Russiagate, because he's totally, you know, allowed it to go on. When they tried to attack him with Russiagate, he accepted. I had no idea the Russians were helping me. You know, it's like, what are you doing? Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see how he plays it out. He's totally caved to the Democrats and isn't a real independent. So it's going to, you know, but this is, unless, you know, he just won re-election. Unless he wants another 6 years after this 6 years, he's probably done after this one. So we'll see if he has any guts for his final term.
Okay, let's speaking of the Democrats, we got somebody running for DNC chair, the head up all the Democrats nationwide, which obviously they got to go back to the drawing board, don't they? Oh, we got two Rumble Rants.
Oh,
right
yeah,
after
here we
each
go.
other.
Two different Rumble Rants. Yeah, $5 from K-Wall for Life 2024 Christmas party will be epic. See you there. We will see you there as well.
K-Wall for Life is referring to the Action for Liberty Christmas party. You can go to actionforliberty.com. I don't run the organization anymore. Eric Mortensen does, and though I'm helping out quite a bit, apparently my auctioneer skills are still in high demand at that event. And I get to have the fun part of asking people to donate to Action for Liberty, because that is when it comes to the political groups that I support, that is the top one right there, Action for Liberty. So you go actionforliberty.com. Right on the top, you can sign up, get your Christmas ticket, $65. They keep the price low. I mean, honest to God, they said better food this year, but kept the price. I mean, most events are going to charge you over $100. And here's the other thing about the Action for Liberty event. It's such a great deal. Just going there, you have a chance to win an AR-15, which, by the way, Tim Walz did not carry in war. So you can carry a weapon that Tim Walz definitely did not carry in war, and 3 other firearms just for showing up. It's a pretty amazing thing. So, yeah, go to actionforliberty.com. Go ahead and read the other comment.
Yeah, and we got Failed Candidate, another $5 Rumble Rant saying, I once saw Jake at a Ron Paul event wearing a T-shirt that read, Who told you I was paranoid? Was it the government? So, was it the government?
I don't know if Failed Candidate is. I don't know. Were you at a Ron Paul event there, Failed Candidate? That's the other thing about...
that was, 12 years ago at least,
Oh,
so.
Yeah.
You've been paranoid for a long time. You got to be distrustful of this government.
Oh, J-Lass is coming. JL Jass. See JLS. My husband and 2 sisters will attend the Christmas party this year. Looking forward to it. And we're looking forward to seeing you. Oh, Dave's right. Won a firearm. There you go.
There we go. Yeah.
Good odds. By the way, speaking of which, you can also win tickets to Jordan Peterson. Front row seats. I gobbled up the last 2 front row seats. Giving it away from Truth Hurts News. All you have to do is go to truthhurtsnews.com/JBP, as in Jordan B. Peterson. What's the B? Brian? Ben?
Belfort.
Is it really Belfort?
I have no idea. I just made that
It
up.
seems like it would be. He's so distinct. He's like, it would definitely seem like a distinguished gentleman like him would have Belfort as his middle name. It's probably not. It's probably
It's
Brian.
burnt.
Is it burnt?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Interesting. JBP. There you go.
Jordan Burnt Peterson.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. So anyhow, Ken Martin, the chair of the Democrats here in Minnesota, is running for
Let's
chair.
go ahead and pull up the D1, Dawson. Let's go ahead and pull up that article because far-left radical Minnesota Democrat chair has announced a run for DNC chair. Minnesota.
That's not it. That's Anthony Blinken again.
Yep. But Minnesota has become a blueprint for socialists and radical leftists around our nation due to the insane policies that have been pushed through a narrow legislative majority. With only a 6-person House majority and a 1-person Senate majority, Democrats were able to check off nearly every item off their big government, anti-freedom agenda. Even the so-called moderate Democrats fell in line to spend your surplus, raise your taxes, lock you down, mandate experimental shots, put tampons in boys' rooms, mutilate children, and pass any and all unconstitutional Democrat omnibus bill that came forward their way. Minnesota politics are often overlooked. But there's, with Tim Walz's nomination as Kamala's VP, it allowed the nation to learn exactly what we have been stuck living with. Because Walz is the chair of the Democrat Governors Association and Peggy Flanagan is the chair of the Democrat Lieutenant Governors Association, we could look to the executive and legislature for the blame, but there is one individual who has led Minnesota into the destruction that we are in like no one else. Ken Martin. Ken Martin is the current chair of the Minnesota DFL and has held that role since 2010. Which means he's been doing it for the last 14 years. He is also the chair of the Association of State Democratic Party Chairs and has led and created the machine that has held total control over Minnesota for years. As chair of the ASDC, Martin has provided the electoral and legislative blueprints for other states for them to apply. And during Martin's reign as chair, Democrats have not lost a single statewide election in Minnesota. Today, Ken Martin announced that he will be running for chair of the Democratic National Committee, the DNC, because incumbent Jamie Harrison has announced that he will not seek re-election. I've got that tweet in there that people can check out on their own if they are interested. It's important to be aware of who your competitors are, what they're capable of, and how to defeat them. Ken Martin is no slouch. He has continually been re-elected to his post because he has handed power to the far left again and again. He has proven that he has a massive ability to fundraise just by comparing the Minnesota Democrats to the MNGOP, and he has kept the party infighting to a minimum. He was a key player in installing Tim Walz as VP because Ken Martin is well connected with the other DNC delegates across the nation and was instrumental in getting party insiders to back Tim Walz over another candidate like Josh Shapiro. We reported on Ken Martin and how other Democrats in Minnesota were looking to install Tim Walz as the VP 2 days before Joe Biden had even dropped out of the race. So while most conservatives view Ken Martin as an enemy of freedom who has led Minnesota to this destruction, current MNGOP chairman Rhino David Hann told Duluth News Tribune, quote, "In my party, sometimes I get criticized for consorting with the enemy, and they say enemy. I say, wait a minute. I never refer to Ken Martin or the Democrats as our enemy. They're not our enemy. They're our political opponents," end quote. David Hann goes on to say that Republicans need to find common ground with Democrats. However, David Hann has much more in common with the Democratic agenda than the grassroots conservatives do. Rhino David Hann appears on podcasts with Ken Martin and is even a co-sponsor with Ken Martin on a campaign for civility, so Republicans can be polite while the Democrats screw us over. Ken Martin he could not ask for any weaker, softer, or willing to cave opposition than David Hann, so it's his choice for leader as well. But in the meantime, the MNGOP State Central Committee will determine leadership for 3 positions: chair, deputy chair, and secretary. Go ahead and pull the article back up, Dawson. You can see the names that are listed currently for chair: Brett Bussman, Armin Joe Steck, Mike Murphy, Forrest Hyatt, Jennifer DeJornett. We got deputy chair Fred Hage, Donna Bergstrom, Walter Hudson, and secretary candidates Ed Gross, Bradley Strand, and Joy Orvis. This is going to give Republicans the opportunity to finally have a leader of their party who is actually going to oppose the Democrats, isn't going to be their friend, isn't going to cave to their terms, and is actually going to view the opposition as an enemy. Because the DNC chair position, and even simply running for it, is a massive launch pad for Ken Martin to use to benefit corrupt politicians like Tim Walz and Antifa Keith Ellison. And interestingly, Ellison is no stranger to the DNC because he was once a candidate for the same office that Ken Martin is now seeking. In 2017, after Trump won the White House, Donna Brazile did not seek re-election for DNC chair, and a host of candidates emerged, including Antifa Keith Ellison, who was a then congressman, the Obama Secretary of Labor Tom Perez, Jemu Green, and a few other people who were largely unknown to everybody at the time, including Pete Buttigieg and Jamie Harrison. Perez ultimately won and named Keith Ellison as his deputy chair, but once Pete Buttigieg and Jamie Harrison got connected with these DNC elites and proved themselves to be loyal puppets, they were rewarded. Buttigieg got national attention, was treated like a legitimate presidential candidate. In 2020, despite only being a small city mayor, everybody wondered, where did this guy come from? Why is he getting this attention? If I announced I was running for president, nobody would care. Why is Pete Buttigieg? It's because he was in with the DNC. And Jamie Harrison was flooded with cash against Lindsey Graham. It was then, at the time, the highest spent Senate race in the entire country, which means it was the most corrupt Senate race in the entire country between Jamie Harrison and Lindsey Graham. He wasn't even able to beat Lindsey Graham. Who can't beat Lindsey Graham, the most unlikable guy in the world? And then he went on to become the successor to Tom Perez as DNC chair. So you are rewarded when you run for these things, and if you prove yourself to be a loyal puppet, that is what Ken Martin is going to be doing in this race too. CNN even held a debate with the DNC candidates in 2017. I have that linked in there so people can check that out. The other candidates so far for DNC chair includes the former Maryland governor, former Baltimore mayor, and the current commissioner of Social Security, Martin O'Malley, who was a failed 2016 presidential candidate. He couldn't get any momentum, and he was just an uninspiring empty suit. Rumored names for DNC chair currently include Chicago Mayor and Obama puppet Rahm Emanuel, who has expressed interest, and the Wisconsin Democrat Party chair Ben Wickler. Perhaps they will point out how Ken Martin lost ground in 2024, even with Tim Walz on the ballot in his home state. So we'll continue to keep you guys updated on this. I think this race is going to be very interesting, and I think that the MNGOP races will be interesting as well, because finally conservatives will be able to choose someone who is not going to cave to the Democrats and accept their terms for debate. As of now, David Hann isn't listed as a candidate for chair. There's all kinds of rumors and whatnot out there. I won't give them any ideas for themselves, so they're going to have to decide for themselves if they want to nominate David Hann or not, and if he actually wants to go forward with it. He's been nothing but a failure. So he wouldn't have much of a record to stand on. So it's going to be very interesting. And we'll have to keep tabs on what goes on here with the DNC race. And if Ken Martin actually gets in there, there is going to be a whole host of things that we need to be aware of.
Yeah, good reporting there. And we're going to stay on top of the race for the Republican Party in Minnesota, which is just a failed party at this point, and they need to go a completely different direction. And what's going to come with the Democrats and this divided government. Boy, 2025 is going to be so interesting. And we'll be talking a lot about this Trump agenda and how that's going. Boy, I'm just so excited about it. There's a lot to be excited about, right? Let's just be honest. It's not just election. It's like, oh, yay, we won the election. So what? Mm-hmm. Now what? Now what do we do? And from what I'm seeing, I'm almost over the Marco Rubio appointment, okay? I'm almost over it. Some of the other bad ones. So, and by the way, they could still make me ambassador to NATO. Seems like that mission is becoming more and more important every day. Let's go to the post show. I really want to talk about the fight. I'm a big fight fan. Not as much of a boxing fan, but I definitely want to talk about what John Jones said about Trump. Mm-hmm. That was interesting. And then we'll talk about Tyson and Jake Paul and why I think you're wrong. I think you're completely wrong on this.
Yeah.
And I'll school you. I'll give you a little lesson on getting older. Yeah. Just FYI.
And maybe we could talk about some of these MNGOP races in the
let's do that.
Too.
I want to do that.
I'm not sure we're even going to see eye to eye on some of these. So
well, let's talk about that. Okay.
We'll have to discuss.
This is a compliment to all the people who support us on a monthly basis. For $8 a month, you could be a supporter of the Truth Hurt Show. You could do an annual subscription, and then that cuts off a whole month. So it's $88 for a year. Otherwise, $8 a month. It's so much fun. This is really what keeps the show running. That and our sponsors are great sponsors. So go to truthhurtsnews.com. Once you're there, click on the banner on the top, and you can sign up for your Locals account. You're going to be part of our post show and a lot of other fun things that we'll be announcing. A lot of things coming up for our supporters, and we'll be announcing it on the post show. Plus, I want to talk a little bit more about Jordan Peterson. It's really hard for me to give away those tickets. Those are freaking awesome tickets. I was like, should I buy other tickets and give those ones away? And there's like, no, the front row seats should go to a fan of the show. And so these are sweet ass tickets. K-Wall says Father Time is undefeated. Cheers. And by the way, K-Wall's got a history of martial arts.
Oh, there we go.
So he knows what he's talking about. I'm sure those kicks are slowing down, aren't they? So anyhow, we're going to talk about this in the post show. Go to truthhurtsnews.com, or if you're in Rumble, just click on join on the top. That's another way to do it. Also, if you're on truthhurtsnews.com, you can see the Jordan Peterson tickets. So go ahead and sign up. I want one of you guys to win those sick tickets. One of you regular show fans of the show, the live show. I guess I don't really care if you watch it not live. I still want you to win those tickets too. It's unfortunate I only have 2 tickets. It'd be nice to give a bunch more away. Well, maybe we will. We'll see how many people sign up. Maybe we're only going to give 1 set of front row seats away, okay? But maybe we buy some more tickets. Anyhow, go to truthhurtsnews.com. Thank you to our great sponsors, Warren Wessel of Keller Williams Realty. If you're looking to buy home or sell home, give Warren a call. Go to johngaltmortgagecompany.com or johngaltmortgage.com, not company.com, johngaltmortgage.com. If you're buying a home, give them a chance of financing that home. And thank you to Alpine Capture in St. Cloud, Minnesota. Thank you to Failed Candidate. And who was the other
K-Wall.
that? K-Wall. Was it K-Wall that did that? Okay. Thank you, K-Wall, as well. For the Rebel Rants, we're going to be live in the post show. For everyone else, we'll be back here on Thursday at 1 o'clock. Take care.